Welcome back to Sam and Ham.
This is Sam.
And this is Ham.
And what are we doing today?
Today we're going to be making a dungeon the way Wizards of the Coast intended.
They intended us to make a dungeon a certain way?
Random dungeons, yes. Yeah, so I think every DM at some point, myself included, has, needed a last minute dungeon, and you don't want to sit down and draw that whole thing, 'cause that's going to take forever. You've got a session in like 20 minutes, and you're panicking. So what do? You go to Google, and you say, Google, please, bring me a random dungeon. And there are so many people out there that have made random dungeon generators that do it pretty well. I know Donjon is one of the big ones. I've used it plenty. You guys have definitely run through a random dungeon or two in your day. But something I noticed recently is in the back of the DMG, page 290, is dedicated to random dungeon making with dice.
Okay.
So we're going to see if these dungeons that will inevitably take a while are going to be any better than any dungeon that we could get by just clicking randomly generate on the internet.
Gotcha.
So you ready to roll some dice?
Sure, but I want to point out, you know how you could avoid using this thing entirely?
Huh.
Pre-plan your campaigns. Sit down, take an hour. Do some prep work once in a while.
From the queen of procrastination herself?
They didn't need to know that.
Yeah, well, they do now. So, let us begin. The first thing we need to roll for is our starting area, which you can see on screen now. So, if we can roll a d10, we have a 4, which means that we are going to make a rectangle that is an 80 by 20 feet with row pillars down the middle, 2 passages leading from each long wall, and doors on each short wall. Okay, so each of these squares is going to be 5 feet.
Okay.
So
each of the big squares or the little squares?
Little squares.
Oh, man.
So then we need to roll for what is behind each door and each passage. So that's 2 doors and 2 passages just off of our starting area.
Okay.
Yeah. We're going to roll for passage and then passage width.
Okay.
All right. So
2d20s?
We're just going to do one at a time. So it's okay. So for the passage, the way it works is you roll a d20. You got the result. And then you also need to roll for the width. If you're rolling for a passage coming off of a chamber, which is what we're doing, you roll a d20. If you're only coming for a passage, because a passage won't necessarily end after just one roll. It can go on for a while. So this first one, we're going to roll a d20, because they can be really wide. As you can see, it can be up to like 40 feet wide passage. But as the passage continues on, as we're rolling more, we're only going to roll a d12. So it's going to be much more narrow.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it's very simplistic here. So so for that first passage, it continues ahead 20 feet with a door to the right, and then an additional 10 feet ahead. That was a lot of blinking. Are you good?
I'm trying to figure out how you went from trying to draw 20 by 80 to now all of a sudden needing everything else.
So here we go. I was gonna try to make this look really pretty, but let's get some ink on paper here. So boop, 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 and boop. Okay. So then we'll use brown for the doors here, which we actually need to roll for what the doors are made out of. But we're gonna use the brown right there as a door. This is the other door. And then for the passages, this is technically not wall, so we're going to get rid of the wall with white ink, okay?
Okay.
So the passage we rolled was that it needs to go 20 feet, and we got to roll for how wide it is.
Right.
So we also roll a nat 20.
Okay.
Okay, so this passage is going to be 40 feet wide. So
I thought you were getting rid of it with white ink.
I suppose I shall. So it's gonna be 40 feet wide. And then we get our blue ink. And then we're gonna, because we rolled a 3, it continues ahead 20 feet with a door on the right, and then an additional 10 feet ahead. So it's a 30-foot long passage. With a door on the right. And then that is the end of, and then it continues on. So it did 20 feet, door on the right, and then it keeps going 10 more feet. Okay. So I guess that would technically be 5 more feet long, wouldn't it be? Or would... Hold on. So it says straight for 20 feet, then door, and then 10 more feet. So is that a total of 35 feet or 30, do you think? It doesn't say.
DM's choice of interpretation, I guess.
I love it. All right, 35 feet. Okay, so now we roll for more passage because, as you can see, our passage is not done.
Okay.
We get rid of these. But because we're coming off another passage, we only roll a d12 for the passage width.
Okay.
So, passage width. We have another 3. Are you kidding me? Okay. So it's going to be, again, 20 feet with a door, 10 more feet.
Uh-huh.
But for the width, it's only going to be 10 feet wide now.
Okay, so the walls come in then.
Yes, so we're going to come in from 40 feet down to 10 feet. And we go up 20 feet.
I love that you're making this symmetrical right now, by the way. That's very pleasing to the eye.
Well, so far that's what it's been, but we'll see.
Well, it didn't say that, you know, the passage narrowed, you know, left or right. It just said it narrowed.
Oh, shit, you're right.
So it could be left or right.
That's also very true, but I'm going to go symmetrical for right now. We'll see where that goes. And then we have boop, and we get that door in here. Which, by the way, for every door, we're going to... Do you see how much rolling this is going to be now?
Yes.
We're settling in for the long haul.
Gotcha.
Okay. We roll again. More passage. 11, 4. So it is a 10-foot wide, but a 4. It's literally the same thing, but with the door on the left this time.
Gotcha. Okay, okay. So this is a very long hallway.
Yes. All right, so... This passage is going on for a bit. Basically, it has to continue until we hit a chamber.
Okay, and how do you get a chamber? Oh.
15 to 20 because we're not going to be using stairs.
Gotcha.
So, let's hope we can roll well.
No.
No, we can't. Oh, 6 and a 10 means there's a 10-foot wide door thing, and it goes 20 feet and comes to a dead end. Okay.
That works.
Okay, this works. And it says it has a 10% chance of a secret door. So if we get a natural 10 on here, secret door. Okay, no secret door. So we go 20 more feet. And we got a dead end. All right.
Cool.
We have one passage done. So now...
we definitely need to get some other passages on here.
I know. Do we want to go back to the passage off of the main chamber, or do we want to start messing with some of these doors?
Let's go off the shaft there, just to make it less
shafty. So off this shafty? Okay. Let's go with this door here on the right. Okay. Now we go to our door table.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Yeah, no, you roll for everything. So let's find out what kind of door this is. You roll a d20. Most of the time it's going to be wood, but it could be stone, iron, it could be a portcullis, or even a secret door.
Okay, so theoretically we don't have to roll that right this second. So we just beyond the door that we're worried about.
We're going to be worried about beyond the door. Let's just see. Door type. It's a wooden door. Okay. A normal wooden door. Okay. So beyond the door is also a d20, now, as you see on screen. Bada bing. 8. That is a 20-foot passage. Hey, we're back to passages. All right, let's go. Now we gotta roll for passage again.
All right.
We're back at it. All right, bink and bonk. 9 and 8. So that is... All right. Let's get complicated here. So it is a 10-foot wide passage.
Hang on. So you didn't draw that passage that we just rolled for, because you said it was a 20-foot passage.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was trying to... That's what... Oh, you're right. So I didn't need to roll all that. No. I was rolling that for the width, because it doesn't say what width the passage is.
So you needed to roll width, because it's a passage.
Yeah, but I didn't need to roll on the actual passage table. I just needed width. So it was a 10-foot wide passage coming off this door. You're right. Thank you. See, this is why I need you here with me, because I can't build these things on my own. It's much too complicated.
That's why I build all your maps.
Okay,
so with that other 20 that you rolled, what was that?
We'll just re-roll it.
You're just gonna re-roll it?
Yeah, so now we have to continue on this passage here to see where it goes.
Yep.
Oh, so this one's only gonna be 5 feet wide now.
Okay.
And it is number 12. It continues straight 20 feet, and then the passage turns left and continues 10 feet. So, first off, our passage narrows, and then it continues on for 20 feet,
Turns left.
Turns left, and then goes 10 more feet.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we roll again. Because the passage never ends.
You know, you could just hit roll at the bottom, right? You didn't have to...
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah, you just hit re-roll, so you don't have to take the dice away and put it back. You just hit roll.
Okay, that's fair. So this one, it's going to re-widen up back to 10 feet because we rolled this 6.
Uh-huh.
But then we get a chamber.
Okay.
So, well, actually, wait. Yeah, I guess I don't really need to roll the width because it's a chamber, not a passage. So I really should be waiting to roll that second dice, I suppose.
Nah, you could hang on to it. It's fine.
That's fair.
But anyway.
We'll do it next time. So anyway, now we gotta roll for a chamber. Chambers are kind of cool.
Okay, so it didn't tell you what kind of chamber. It just says...
No, it just says a chamber. And now we get to roll on a few more things. Can you tell that they give you a ton of tables here to look at?
Uh-huh.
We haven't even gotten to the, like, stocking the dungeon, which I don't even think we'll do in this video. But maybe next video, you know?
Okay.
So, for chamber, table on screen, we roll a d20, and you either get a large room or a small room. A small room is 1 through 10, large room is 11 to 20. So, and then, once you roll that, you have to roll for how many exits that room's gonna have. We get an 8. That is a rectangle that is 20 by 30 feet.
Okay.
And it has... one exit. Okay? As you can see from that table. And that exit location, 7, is the wall opposite the entrance.
Okay.
So it is a 20 by 30 foot room, which we get to just do like 20. Which technically, actually, it doesn't even look like that. It looks like this because it's not a door. And then it's 30 feet long. And there is an exit on the opposite. Oh, and we gotta roll for the exit type. My gosh, you gotta really a lot of dice going here. It is a 5, so this is a door on the far side. I'll be honest, it's looking pretty alright so far. It's taken some time, but this really, actually, probably so far, hesitantly, looks better than randomly generated maps.
Yeah, definitely if you want to just take this as your sample right now, you're going to be here for a while. However, this is all just, you know, arbitrary to the point of you could just say, nah, there's no door. Yeah. And call it an end. This is a very small dungeon, but that is something
you could do.
You could do. You could just say, screw it, there are no other doors.
Yeah. And this is our finished product.
What? We have one?
Yeah. This took half an hour of... We weren't even commenting on it. We were just silently sitting here and rolling dice. With laser-focused precision, or the best that we are able to muster on the best of days.
Right.
And this is what we ended up with. I'll admit there might be a few mistakes if somebody slows down the recording. I could have goofed. I don't claim to be perfect, but... I'm kind of happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, to be honest, it's definitely an interesting design. The question is where would you find tunnels like this? It makes absolutely no sense.
Well, I mean, you could flavor it as a bunch of junk, like, you know, this is the tomb of some dude who was not a fan of squares, I guess. I don't know.
And he had a portcullis.
Yes. So... the one thing I do notice is what was originally our starting chamber in the middle doesn't connect to the outside. kind of really at all. Unless you just put a door at the bottom.
Here, or some sort of stair or ladder to get down into that room.
I didn't really think about that, but personally, after finishing it, I think up at the top left would be a better spot anyway.
Right.
But I did have to fudge a few things, because, surprisingly, an RNG dungeon generator had a goof once in a while.
Oh yeah, like what?
This spot over here, where everything is just a mess, that's a lot of I just had to do as best I could. It's like, yeah, go 20 feet. And I'm like, well, there's a wall there. I did add a door there that there really wasn't supposed to be, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then up at the top, there's this little wall here that was a little bit wonky.
Yeah, that just looks like a pillar, really, in the wall.
Yeah. And then here, this, just off the chamber on the right, actually, it kind of curved around and was supposed to go back into the main chamber, and I was like, there's supposed to be a door there anyway, screw it, we're just gonna have that door lead to this passage.
Gotcha.
But otherwise, it took a while. This did take like a total of an hour to do.
Yeah.
Which honestly, that's not bad.
It's not great.
It's not great, but it's not bad.
Yeah, if you have 5 minutes to make this dungeon, I wouldn't suggest rolling like this. I would go a little bit more off the cuff. Maybe roll if you can't decide if you want to go left, right, or straight. But otherwise, I wouldn't suggest using this start to finish if you only had 5 minutes to write something up.
No, if you were starting from, if you've got 20 minutes before the session starts, I'd probably try an online dungeon generator. You want to, like, compare what we got here versus the dungeon generator?
Sure.
See what that looks like?
Yeah.
So this is Donjon. They are, I mean, there's a reason everybody's used this at least once. It's the first thing that comes up, and it's because it's very good. It's got all this different stuff you can choose, so I always choose, if we want to make it a sparse dungeon, with medium room size. Polymorph rooms? I don't even know what that means, but,
apparently, yes.
Yes, we'll have some. Peripheral egress. This I actually absolutely hate in dungeons. I know it's a classic of, like, ye old dungeon design from the 70s. But you see how this hallway just ends?
Mm-hmm.
That's what a peripheral egress is.
Uh-huh.
I hate them. But it does make sense if you're, like, in, like, collapsed tunnels and stuff like that. Like, you can make them make sense. It's just sometimes, like, if you just look at this one that they have so far, there's 1, 2, 3, there's, like, several of them, and I don't like how often they show up. So we'll go with none. Make it a dungeon, medium-sized rectangle. Corridors are, we'll go with straight. Remove some dead ends. And we'll just generate the dungeon.
I actually think those egresses you were talking about were the dead ends.
They could have been. I'm not sure. But so, as you can see, they make this dungeon much quicker. It took 10 seconds to generate, and it's all right here.
Yeah, that was a lot nicer and easier, and again, if I don't like a random tunnel or maze, it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, that is very much true. Like, it's easy enough to mark one off. That was one thing I did kind of like just about drawing out your own, is you can customize it. Like, if I get a dice roll that I don't like, and if I wasn't, feeling it, just get rid of it.
Yeah.
Which, Donjon does make it a little bit harder. Like, I don't know Photoshop very well. So,
right.
If I wanted to edit this, it'd be a little difficult, but...
Yeah, no, but it's still...
But for just sheer speed, if I don't like this one, I can go back, generate another one like 7 times over in the amount of times it takes me to make 2 hallways in the other one.
You're not wrong, but I mean, again, with this, it gives you a blueprint, so maybe like that chamber thing that was at the bottom.
Yeah, that's also the thing. If you can see down here, it actually gives you what's here. Or at least ideas for it, like, yeah, here's, a door, how hard it is, leads to this room, blah, 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 blah. It's all that fast.
Yeah, no.
Like, if I were to run you guys through this dungeon, you'd probably say, oh, wow, that's a lot of monsters in this dungeon, and it's a little bit boring. But you wouldn't know that it was randomly generated.
Yeah.
Like, they do a pretty darn good job of that.
You're not wrong, and again, if I had 20 minutes to prep for a D&D session,
yeah.
I would pick this random generator.
The book does give you some good tools to work with for making your own dungeons. I will give them that. Like, the next section where it talks about stocking a dungeon is actually, I think, much more useful. It says, like, what is the purpose of this room? And there have definitely been times where, like, I was happy with what a dungeon looked like, but I didn't know what to put in a room. I'm a dumb man. I don't know what goes where. So these ones like, oh yeah, it's, you know, an armory stocked with weapons and armor. Okay, cool, I can work with that. It at least gives you something to work with. I think the actual generating of the map is a little unnecessary, but hey, good place to start.
Yeah, definitely for someone who has no idea where to go, but you definitely need more than 20 minutes to get that done.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, it's really open interpretation too. Like I was pointing out, you made it all symmetrical and
yeah, it wasn't exactly realistic. Like, this could have been aligned with this part of the map. Anything else you want to say about it?
No, I mean, again, I've pretty much said my piece. You need more than 20 minutes. If you're trying to do rushed prep, use a generator. Don't use this.
Yeah. It's kind of cool if you have probably a couple hours to sit down and make this dungeon. Which, hey, if you're that kind of DM, I'd recommend it. It's pretty cool.
Good on you. Drop your name in the comments. That way we can find you and make you DM for us, because ours is never prepared.
Hey! But alright, thank you all for watching.
This is Sam.
This is Ham. And we'll see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.